Yes, Jim Acosta.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wonder if you could comment on this disconnect that we seem to have in this country, where you are presenting information about what's happening at the border, calling it an invasion, talking about women with duct tape over their mouths and so on. And yet there's a lot of reporting out there. There's a lot of crime data out there. There's a lot of Department of Homeland Security data out there that shows border crossings at a near record low. That shows undocumented immigrants committing crime at lower levels. That shows undocumented criminals or undocumented immigrants committing crime at lower levels than native-born Americans. What do you say to
you don't really believe that stat? Do you really believe that?
What do you? Well,
Take a look at our federal prisons.
I believe in facts and statistics.
Okay,
and data,
any more quick? Let's go.
But let me just ask you this: what do you say to your critics who say that you are creating a national emergency, that you're concocting a national emergency here in order to get your wall because you couldn't get it through other ways?
What do you think? Do you think I'm creating something? Ask these incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons. This is real. Okay? Because your question is a very political question, because you have an agenda. You're CNN. You're fake news. You have an agenda. The numbers that you gave are wrong.
You know, this year is projected that in 1 year's time, we may have over 4 million illegal immigrants crossing through the United States borders. At the south, of course, the southern borders. It wasn't always like this. During the Trump years, we actually got control of the borders. For a moment, Donald Trump said, we're going to stop the flow of illegal immigrants through the border. He negotiated this with leaders of some of the countries that are allowing the caravans to come through. And he made it clear that he wanted to also have immigrants that do come here legally have sponsors so that they wouldn't have to go on social services, et cetera, et cetera. Democrats complained about all of that. Well, this is from the glory days of Donald Trump versus CNN. Jim Acosta, who knows nothing about the issues, who just wants to make a political showcase for his own pontifications up against Donald Trump. And you don't have to be too bright to figure out who won that contest. Hint, it wasn't Acosta.
You know it, and so do we. Go ahead, ask a question.
The question, sir, was what did you want President Zelensky to do about Vice President Biden and his son Hunter?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, it was just a follow-up of what I just asked you, sir.
Listen, you ready? We have the president of Finland. Ask him a question.
I have one for him. I just wanted to follow up on the one that I asked you, which was,
did you hear
what
me?
did you want
Did you hear
to...
me?
Yes,
ask
sir.
him a question.
I will, but...
I've given you a long answer. Ask this gentleman a question. Don't be rude.
No, sir, I don't want to be rude. I just wanted you to have a chance to answer the question that I asked you.
I've answered everything. It's a whole hoax. And you know who's playing into the hoax? People like you and the fake news media that we have in this country. And I say in many cases, the corrupt media, because you're corrupt. Much of the media in this country is not just fake, it's corrupt. And you have some very fine people, too. Great journalists, great reporters. But to a large extent, it's corrupt and it's fake. Ask the president of Finland a question, please.
For as long as anybody can remember, the mainstream press, the allies of the Democrat Party, well, in fact, let's just call them what they are, members of the Democrat Party, a subsidiary of the Democrat Party, have been pushing around American presidents. You can go back, those of you old enough to remember Sam Donaldson and Richard Nixon, or go back to the Bush years. One of the things that Donald Trump did more effectively than anybody else is push back against the pushback from the mainstream press. This is such a teachable moment. He knows what his policies are. He's unafraid to just stand up toe-to-toe with a reporter and actually call his policy a victory. It was a victory. And one of the things that he is not going to do is allow someone else to frame his victory. He'll do it himself. This is one of the things that Republicans dealing with the media, especially dealing with a hostile press, a press that's always anxious to put Republicans in the worst light. And it's not just Republicans, by the way, anyone that disagrees with their philosophy, their liberal philosophy. One of the things that Donald Trump showed America how to do is to actually stand up to these bullies in the press, stand up for himself and stand up for the United States of America, calling a victory a victory. It's a pleasure to see this kind of stuff, isn't it?